Okay, now we're back. I apologize for the slight stitch in the video. I had to take a quick bathroom break. So actually, while we're paused, let's talk about a few things while we are paused. In regards to our radiator flaps, once we're airborne and flying at a level flight, we can close these. I just fly with them on. You can close these to increase your airspeed, to reduce drag. Our target of question, we're going to head to the ground targets over here, identified by two smokestacks. There's a bunch of targets in the middle. We're going to start off with a rocket run. I'm going to show you how to use the rockets, and then we'll swap over to bombing, a low-level bombing profile, and then we'll go to strafing, and then fly south and do some air-to-air. The Mosquito is not a fighter. It's mainly can be used as an interceptor on bombers, but it's not a dogfighter. Also, within the Mosquito, we do have a supercharger on board. Apologize. It's located on our left-hand side. It's this little switch right here. By default, it's in the mod position, low gear position. Once you're airborne, you can swap it into the auto position. I'm just going to leave it in mod, as we're not going to be traversing in high altitudes, high air pressure, where we will need the supercharger to swap gears for us. But essentially, with that in auto and anything above 12,000 feet, anytime above 12,000 feet, anywhere between, like, say 14 and 19,000 feet, the supercharger was automatically swap gears for you to optimize the performance based on the air pressure. But I'm just going to leave it in mod for the duration of this flight. In regards to control mechanisms for the rockets, there is no safety mechanism required to disengage for the rockets. They will be live right off the wire. Up to our top left here, we have a rocket salvo switch. It's currently in the off position by default. When you swap it to the on position, when you hit the release trigger for the rockets, all the rockets will be released at a single click. The second control for the rockets is also located on our left hand side, just behind the throttle, back on the aft side of the throttle here. It's covered, slightly hidden. It's this rocket master switch. You're going to want to have that on to release the rockets. As soon as you turn that on, when you hit the rocket release, and that's in the off position, a pair of rockets will be fired. I recommend leaving the salvo in the off position to maintain control, and you're going to have the rocket master switch in the on position to release the rockets. As you can see, we're off-centered here. We have an aiming reticle right here. We are currently off-centered. After I unpause the video, we're going to execute some of these procedures I mentioned in regards to master switch on, and we're going to leave that off. After, we're also going to come over here on the right hand side, this row of switches. I'm going to click on the reflector sight. It's going to swap us over to the middle, and I'm going to turn on our gun sight reticle for aiming. In regards to a rocket profile attack, you want to come in from anywhere from a medium or a low profile, and you're going to want to release the rockets at 200 yards per se, 200, 250 yards. The rockets will, they have a short burn time. They will immediately start to drop. We're going to fly sort of above our target to account for the rocket droppage. Make sure we have enough altitude to pull up ourselves as well. So we're going to fly slightly above our target. When we get closer, we can dip down for better aiming, or adjust our release point based on how our angle of attack. So I'm going to unpause the video. We're going to start flying towards the target, and we're going to start our rocket run. I'm also going to bring us down to a continuous flight mode profile, as we do not need to climb anymore. We're at a good altitude. So here we go. I'm going to unpause the video. Bring us down to a regular profile, rich continuous 2650 RPM, and the boost down to +7. Alright, I'm also going to trim out our flight. I forgot to mention, in our blind instrument panel here in the center, we have a slip trim indicator. We mainly want to look at the bottom one, which is our rudder trim. That's going to have the most effect. If it's going off to the left, we need to apply more right rudder. If it's off to the right, we need to apply more left rudder in regards to trim. The top one's for aileron. I would mainly just use the slip indicator on the bottom to identify if you're going left or right, and just use the aileron trim as you're visually seeing it happen. I'm going to turn on the master rocket switch. I'm also going to turn on the reflector sight, put myself in the middle. We are now in the middle of the airframe. There's no set speed per se for the rocket attack. I would say you want to be at least 220 to 230 miles per hour during all your attacks for rockets, strafing, and all the low-level bombing run. While we have some time, in the Mosquito, the pilot oxygen system is located right here in the bottom left. That turns it on, and then to increase the to allow the oxygen to flow to the oxygen, you can see it's not currently flowing any oxygen. It's just this over here. So you're just gonna right-click this oxygen valve pressure. That releases the valve, opens up the valve. This oxygen flow to you. I'm going to leave that on currently, but you do not need the oxygen system on unless you're in high altitude or doing combat maneuvers. And then the navigator seat, not really required. It's over here, same system. You need to be in the navigator seat though to turn it on. So we see our range up ahead, some vehicles in the middle. Pick up some altitude. We have a base feet here, indicator to adjust our reticle. This base feet is to identify the target in question, the width of the target. We just set it 33 because we're going to engage a fighter after this. And then the range indicator, starting from smallest to the far left, increasing it to the largest. I'm going to set it to 200 yards per se right there. How that works is for air-to-air, as soon as the airframe fills out the width of that reticle, the parameters have been met with regards to the target's 33 feet, and it's at 200 yards. So I'm going to decrease my throttle a bit. You can hear a weird sound pop up. That's because I'm decreasing my boost without the gear. And I'm just going to line up on a target, say the center one right here. I'm just going to fly right above it, aim above it per se. And then when I get closer, I'll dip down, release some rockets, and pull up. When we pull up, we want to remain low in altitude and change our vector to avoid flak and AAA. Alright, so the first round drops slightly below, but we are remaining low during our disengagement profile to avoid getting hit by a lot of flak and AAA and changing our direction. That's how you engage with rockets. You can see if I want to swap to salvo mode, all the rockets will fire, the remaining rockets will fire as such. Yeah, 4 go off the rail. All right. Since we're low or at a medium low altitude, we'll swap over to guns. We'll do a strafing run. There is a safety mechanism with the guns. The safety mechanism is located in the center right here. There is a cover. You're gonna click that open to reveal a switch, which is currently off position. You're gonna swap it down so it's towards the fire, and now our gun safety mechanism is disengaged, allowing us the use of our guns. During strafing, I recommend using your lower caliber munition, 303s, and then the 20 calibers cannons. Use the 303s to lead you into the target. With a strafing run, we maintain a low profile, low altitude, and a low angle of attack of about 25 degrees. We also want to identify our speed before we start our attack run. Once we identify our throttle and our speed that we wish to be at, we don't want to necessarily want to touch our throttle during our attack run, as it will throw us off our course line and screw up our attack run. For that target right in the middle of my reticle, so to speak, at the bottom of it. Just maintaining some more altitude and a little bit more of an angle here. Staying slightly above the target. Again, same thing. You want to stay low, pull out, up and out. It's all about eyeballing for the most part. You can engage a target up to 400 yards out. For accuracy, you're going to want to engage at 200 yards per se from the target. And same thing with the ear-to-ear engagements. You can sort of use this profile to identify if you're 200 yards out or not, if you are coming in on the side with regards to the width of the vehicle in question. Or the front. Alright, I'm going to pause the video to discuss the bombing procedures. In regards to bombing, there's a few steps here. In regards to our bomb bay doors, bombs, you can have the Mosquito equipped with bombs on the wings. We currently only have them equipped within our fuselage. To do that, we first need to drop down our bomb bay doors. There's a lever here to open up our bomb bay doors. You can have these open at any time. You can have it open up to like 300 miles per hour, and it would not damage the airframe. Next up, we will need to open up this glass case protector. We will left click or right click to open it up. Once we do that, there is a master switch right here. This is a switch where it says off on, off on. You're going to need to click that so the switch is in the on position to activate the ordnance. Swap over from the camera to the bomb mode. Then here we have our bomb selections to activate which ordnance is going to be released upon push of our drop bombs button keybind. Right now we only have the fuselage engaged, so we're going to just simply turn on bombs 3 and 4. And then we have the nose fuse currently active. In regards to our bombs, I actually did forget to show you our ordnance selection. We currently have two 500-pound bombs installed. In regards to its settings, it's on a 11-second function delay, and only the nose is plugged. With the bombs, you can only have the nose or the tail active at any given time. If you have both active, in regards to the actual ordnance selection, the bomb will not detonate. Only one can be active, so I recommend always having the nose active and the tail plugged. So we're going to have to, during our bombing profile here, we're going to open up our bomb bay doors, open up this glass case, swap this to on to swap it from camera to bomb, and then engage bombs 3 and 4, make them active on the release, and then engage the nose fuse, the nose fuse. In regards to our attack profile, we want to be at about 500 feet or less per se above the ground. We want to be traversing at least about 230 miles per hour. It's going to be an eyeball attempt in regards to your current altitude and speed. Reference point. For reference of where to line up the target for your release point, sort of right at the bottom of this reticle line is going to be your release point. Anywhere sort of around there, we use as your first initial reference for deciding when to release the bombs based on your altitude and speed. It's not a precise tool. Again, it's more of an art than a science. You're just going to have to get used to when you want to release your bombs. The Mosquito does excel at low-level bombs, flying low and fast. It's really good at stationary targets, large structures such as buildings, especially if that 11-second fuse delay. You just fly low and fling the bombs right into the building and let it explode. So let's go ahead and start our bombing run. I'm gonna unpause the video here. Going to wrong keybind there. Open up the bomb bay doors. See, we have 2 bombs there. Next up, going to open up with a left click the cage. Left click that from camera to bomb. Fuselage. Both my bombs on, and nose is active. And I'm just going to go to the adjust controls, double check my bomb release key. Trigger button, bomb release, gun camera press is the same key. It's right shift space by default. Okay, that's my release key. You're just gonna have to press and hold that, and all the bombs selected will be released. Alright, I'm going to increase my throttle to back to +7-ish. I'm going to do my best here to line up. Again, I'm not really looking to score hits per se. I'm just going to show you the general concept, and hopefully I do score a hit. Go for that target in the further target there. So watching my trim. Try to keep it level as possible. As you increase speed, it's gonna mess up your trims. So I'm just gonna do my best to line it up. As soon as it gets to the bottom of the line, I'm going to release and swap to third person to hopefully see or show a successful detonation. Release might have been a bit early there. I didn't actually see where it landed. Alright, let's give it a few more seconds. Oh, that was a decent hit. That's the general procedure of how to perform that. I'm going to close my bomb bay door. Keep hitting the wrong key there. Sorry. Bring my bomb bay door back in the open position. Back up position. Excuse me. I'm going to secure this. See the bomb bay door back in the up position. Now we're gonna head south to the air-to-air engagement. We'll go over some air-to-air. Gonna put it back in a climbing profile. 2050, 2040 RPM. Boost +9. Boost is going to +9. Alright, the Mosquito is not an air-to-air fighter. It can be used as an interceptor though. In regards to air-to-air engagements, you're not looking for a major explosion per se or trying to rip off the wings. What you're trying to do is just enough damage where the enemy or bandit has to disengage or can no longer complete their objective, and that's considered a successful engagement. You have limited ammunition in the warbirds, so as soon as you see something happening with the bandit in question, the target in question, whether you see white or black leakage or smoke coming out of it, that is an indicator of a critical system damage, and you essentially just sort of need to wait a second or two to see what happens to the bandit, if they're going to disengage or not, and then that's a successful engagement and you can continue on your way. Because you do have, as I mentioned, limited ammunition, and then you also you do not want to spend too much time on one target. You want to immediately start scanning the horizon for additional bandits coming in and starting your defensive maneuvers and such not. With warbirds, with the wake turbulence setting engage, it has a great effect on the warbirds as you are flying you're flying at slow speeds, and you're in a wooden airframe. Has a great effect, the wake turbulence. You're going to see it during air engagements, trying to fly behind the target. It's going to throw you off your game in regards to aiming. With the Mosquito, you want to have your settings you don't want to be engaging further out than 250 yards per se. You want to stay below 300 yards. You should be engaging at 200 yards or less to increase your accuracy. You want to engage your targets from the astern, that is from the back, on an angle, because the critical components of the warbirds during your air-to-air engagements, you want to be aiming for the engine blocks or the cockpit. You want to aim for just damaging the engine. As mentioned, you want to get white or black leakage of smoke for engine problems and or oil or fuel leak to disable the enemy. As mentioned, these are wooden airframes. Most airframes, say like behind me, there's not a lot of critical equipment in my rear here per se. I can take a couple hundred rounds, 1,000 rounds, and nothing will happen to me, and I'll keep flying. So you want to aim for the critical systems, which is the engine on the warbirds. You want to aim for the engines. So I'm actually quite curious how this is going to work out, as Mosquito, as mentioned, is not a fighter. The AI I have set in here is not completely stupid. They will do some maneuvers. In regards to dogfighting, we want to always do sort of like a one-circle fight at the start. We want to maintain visual of the bandit. Losing visual of the bandit can become deadly. Also, counterintuitively, we want to remain in a high energy state. When I say remain in a high energy state, we want to either maintain high altitude or high amounts of speed. So an example of that is if you're going to overshoot your bandit in question, your target in question, you don't want to bleed speed per se if you're dogfighting. You simply want to pull up in altitude and do a roll, keeping the bandit in sight, and transfer your energy that way from speed to altitude, maintaining your energy and to maintain a chase profile. In regards to the profile you should be in regards to engine RPM settings, I recommend just staying in a climbing rate, so you don't have to think about or worry too much about overheating your aircraft. You can see there's an hour limit max. That's more than enough time. I recommend just starting off with 2050 plus 9 and then play with the throttle as needed during the engagement. And you shouldn't have to worry about overheating your engine doing that. And also giving you a decent amount of energy, speed per se, for the engagement. Similar to strafing, I recommend leading off with your lower caliber munitions and then swapping to your cannons once you know you're going to hit to deal the final blow. And I'm actually going to swap my supercharger from mod to auto, swapping that in the outboard position just in case if I do go up higher than 8,000 feet and start heading into the where the supercharger would normally swap automatically to the second gear to optimize performance. My oxygen system is on already. My gun's safety switch is on the on. We are good. Just increasing my reticle brightness. Should be a P-47 about to engage, leaving at 33 feet, and 200 yards distance. Hopefully this is a good engagement to show you. Right after this, we'll commence a landing procedure. You don't necessarily have to trim for level fight before you do your dogfight, because you're going to be going left and right crazy, decreasing speeds and whatnot. Okay, I see the bandit. So again, we want to keep eyes on the bandit. It's quite easy to lose track of the bandit unless you have labels on. I do not have labels on. So it's quite easy to lose track of the bandit. We're going to try for a head-on. See if I can get him on the first pass here. It's also dangerous because the P-47 has a lot of armament and a lot of protection. He may just destroy me, so hopefully that does not happen. Nope. Alright, he's not gonna try to engage at me right now. Gonna fly past him. Again, turning towards him. Actually, I'm gonna increase throttle here. So you can see he has a better turn radius than me. I'm not trying to turn too crazy. Just gonna go on a slight dip. Increase my speed. Increase the throttle. So right, you don't dogfight in the Mosquito for this reason. So I'm in defensive mode at full throttle right now. Took some hits. So I'm actually going to perform some hammer maneuvers with my rudder. Just ham it. Pretty much just sliding like a piece of ham. I'm going to say that. So I'm actually going to cut back on the throttle and try to let it pass me. Boy, some scissors. But you can see he landed some shots on me, not quite in the engines, so I'm pretty good still. And I lost him. There he is. Just gonna change my angle very slightly. Yeah, it took a few more hits, didn't hit anything critical. Flying full right rudder here. Pulling up. Oh, he almost got something critical there. I just can't get up to him. So never dogfight in Mosquito to get from this. I did not quite score any hits there, I don't think. See, the airframe is fighting with me right now. And what I'm going to do actually is just sort of disengage. I'm going to go full settings for a bit. The Mosquito can outrun, it's pretty fast. Just trying not to overdo it though and blow out anything. So we're just going to try to disengage here. See how if he's chasing me or not. So the AI is chasing me. Alright, so we're going to bring it back to a safe parameter, 2650 RPM, bring it back to +7. Let things cool down a bit. He may be following me or trying to follow me, but I do have some distance. So what we're going to do now is head towards Tbilisi, as long as he does not try to follow me. But that's how you kind of get away in the Mosquito. You just do a slight dip in altitude, a slight angle of dive, and you can actually outrun a BF 109 like that. Just doing a slight, depending on the how the BF 109's profile is. The Mosquito is quite fast. You can essentially it's purposely designed to not have any defensive weapons, and they decided to simply go with speed to get you out of dangerous situations as such. Alright, let's just double checking. Hopefully I didn't mess up the rest of this video with getting shot down. Very good. But that's kind of like the basics of not the dogfight in the Mosquito, because it's not a dogfight, it's not a fighter. But you can use it as an interceptor for bombers. As mentioned, it is fast, so it can get to the bombers quite quickly, efficiently. Alright, let's go over a landing profile configuration. I'm going to pause the video, we'll talk about landing profile. Okay, for landing, we want to be at least 25 flaps down when we get to the flaps part of our portion. So for landing, once we get to our final, we're not going to do any patterns or anything like that. Regards to dropping the gears at 165 miles per hour, per se, we can drop our gears at 150 miles per hour. We can bring our flaps down to, again, at least 25. Anywhere from 25 to 45, I would say 25 by default is the setting you want to be at. We're going to drop our gears first, at 165 as mentioned. We're going to trim our airframe for level flight. Then we're going to drop our flaps, start to retrim. We want to maintain, just for safety reasons, a speed of 140 miles per hour. I'm going to say maintain a speed of 140 miles per hour just for safety, to ensure you have enough speed control over your airframe. We are going to look for a speed of about 150 and 120 miles per hour over the threshold once we get there. Again, this is just for safety. This is not the default or primary settings, just to give yourself enough control or wiggle room. As for the most part, at least on this map, we have plenty of runway, especially at Tbilisi, to overshoot the runway and give us time to glide down softly to a touchdown. We're looking at a speed of about 100 miles per hour, or anywhere from 95 to 100 miles per hour, based on our current weight of fuel. We didn't talk about fuel, but we don't need to. This is just the basics. We're going to look for a touchdown of 100 miles per hour per se, 95-ish, for a 3-point landing. When I say 3-point landing, it's going to be more of like a 2.5 to 2 3/4 landing. All 3 wheels you want to sort of touch down on the ground at the same time. You can do a 2-point landing configuration. Again, that's just a little bit more dangerous, as this is front heavy with the 2 engines and the propellers are big. You may damage the propellers and just break the aircraft. So you aim for a little flare up. You want to sort of aim for like a 3-point landing per se. We don't really want to drastically change our throttle on landing after we're over the threshold. If you need more speed, recommend just tipping the airframe forward, putting those forward a bit to gain more speed if you need more speed. If you need more altitude, just simply let it hover, just pull up a little bit on the aft. But yeah, I think that just covers the basics for now. But we can unpause the video. We're going to gain some altitude. We're going to sort of aim at the runway as such, and then once we get close to the threshold, we can pull up That's to give you allow you to line up on the runway. As I mentioned, we're going to aim for a 3-point landing. Once you pull up, you're not going to be able to see the runway as much. You're just going to be eyeballing it. So we can gain some altitude first, come in a little bit higher, aim at the runway, keep it in sight, and then once we get over the threshold, we can pull up and flare and aim for the 3-point landing. So I'm going to unpause the video and we can sort of start doing that procedure. As mentioned, this is a secure latch on the gears, so you're going to have to unlock it to bring the gear down, and same thing with the flaps again, unlock it to engage the flaps. For our power settings, actually, sorry, before I forget, our RPMs are going to be fully forward once we start our landing procedure to 3000. And I am shaking a bit, so I might have some damage, or it could be interesting on landing. And as mentioned, I am using a new throttle quadrant system, so just bear with me if it is a bit rough on the landing. But don't be discouraged if you crash it on your first try, or crash it a few times while trying. That's all part of the fun. It's more interactive. It's a lot more harder to do landing and take off with the warbirds. Good thing about the warbirds is it doesn't simply just blow up on you. You can always repair. It has a nice crash modeling system. Alright, I'm going to bring down my throttle. Again, I have that gear indicator warning because I'm reducing my boost without the gear down. Just going to start reducing my speed. And you can remain centered. I like to remain centered during landing, so I know I'm centered with the runway. You can try to land it like this. You can. That's fine. I'm just going to remain centered. Just trying to gain a visual on the runway. I think it's over there. Yeah, definitely took some damage. Just actually check my oil coolant, oil pressure. Looks like I have less left oil pressure, but I'm good. Nothing's leaking per se that I can see. Oh boy, which one's which? Alright, I'm going to reduce throttle, full RPM. I'm going to start my landing procedure with dropping the gears in a sec. I'm going to trim up. Sure, yep, trim up. Yeah, I'm going to bring my gears down now. It's relatively safe. Trimming, trimming, trimming. Applying slight more throttle. Trimming. Trimming. I'm going to drop my flaps to, again, about 25. Yeah, that's fine. I'm dropping speed. I'm going to bring it back up to 140 just for safety, for my comfort. That is typically super dark. Not really playing with the throttle because I'm trying to climb in altitude. This is my descent indicator, not really climbing, so yeah, I'm actually going to apply some more throttle, just to get myself a little bit more altitude. And you can land with the window closed or open. I'm going to leave it closed so you can hear me, it's not as loud. But I do prefer to land with the window open. I like to hear the sound of my engine, make sure, you know, get the full experience, and I can hear how the engine is performing, how I'm performing. Alright, I'm going to bring the throttle down. Alright, so I'm going to bring the throttle down. Again, I'm going to try to aim for 120-ish over the runway. Over the threshold, sorry, I should say. And again, only use your brakes towards the end when you're at low speeds. Looking for a 3-point landing, 120 over the threshold for safety. You see that I'm applying more right rudder as I get slower. Could be at the angle I'm at, or sorry, the direction of the wing currently. And I'm pretty much not going to kill the throttle, but I'm just going to bring down the boost as I approach the threshold. Yeah, leave the boost like such, sort of glide it over the remaining. Oh, bounced a little bit. Nose down, flare, I'm bouncing. Just new throttle, quadrant. And I didn't really apply any aft since I had trim, applying some aft on the stick. Apologize, it was a little bit more rougher than usual. Just flying with the new throttle. Keeping my stick aft. Curious, I'm going to look at my airframe after this. But that's that. I know that was a little bit more rough. Less than ideal, but that's sort of like everything from start to finish, covering the major topics. Again, if you want to learn more, please join our Discord, participate in one of our classes. I'll go over things a bit more in detail, but I wanted to try to cover everything very briskly, as much as possible within like a short time span. There will be another video going over the navigator seat, going over the radio stuff very briefly and briskly. Yep, but that's that. Thank you for watching.